In this tutorial, we will discuss about requesting and processing Level 1 market price data. Level 1 domain, also called market price domain, is for single price points such as trade or quote information. Market price data is modeled using an ONN data structure called field list. A field list is a container of field ID and field value paired entries. In order to interpret and parse field entry data, we have to look up the field description in the data dictionary. Now let's see how the market price request is sent, how the response messages are processed. We created a new class called Item Manager in the file itemmanager.java. Item Manager implements IFA client class to send item requests and process response item messages. SendRequest method in the item request sets the message type to request. It sets message model to the value of the MMT option, which is market price. It also sets indication flag to refresh. For IFA Java item request, it is default to be streaming mode, unless we specifically specify refresh and non-streaming, which means snapshot mode. We set the service name, item name to the message attributes with name type set to RIC. Set the request message into an ONN item interest specification and register the request to the consumer event source defined in the main application. Item Manager process event method process response events from ONN consumer. It validates the event type to make sure it is an item event. It then calls the parse method in the generic ONN parser class. Generic ONN parser parse method calls generic ONN parser parse message. As for payload data, it calls generic ONN parser parse data to parse each individual data element. In parse data, if the data is a container type data, it calls parse aggregate. Parse aggregate iterates through the iterator and process each aggregate entry. In the case of market price data, it should process the entry as field entry and parse the entry data based on the data dictionary definition of the fit. It then sends the data to standard output. Back to the main application, Start Consumer. In previous tutorial, we have mentioned that login domain should be the first RDN request to be sent to data source. Only after login request was accepted by the source, then the consumer can request for item data. Therefore, from the process login method of the main application, if the login was successful, we call the Item Manager SendRequest method to request the item event. SendRequest send the request to the source. The response message will be dispatched to the Item Manager process event method to be processed as we discussed just now. Before running the application, we need to add some more command line options. We set the runtime to be 600 seconds. Provide proper service name and item name. Set MMT to market price. MMT stands for message model type. At this point, we are still loading the data dictionary from the files. Let's run the batch file now. The application should receive item refresh message first. It will come with all the available fields of the item. It should then follow with update messages. This concludes the tutorial. Thank you.